first came to Providence in around 2008, 2009 probably. We came out to grad school. Right? We could look at the receipts.
Yeah.
I think when we first heard about the church, what attracted us was the multicultural aspect. Being in a multicultural marriage, any church we went to, one of us would be out. So the church that was a church for all people was something that was very attractive.
I remember we were at Denver Seminary, and there's always those conversations, right? It's like, how do we merge a seminary and make it more not only invitable to minorities, but that just shares a totally different perspective of theology and the same God we're talking about, right? And so Anthony and I kind of started with that. I think it was one day, it was like, man, we found this church, it's like Providence, they just launched it, like, come check it out.
I think the other part too is once we came, we were really impressed with both the heart of the mission and the deep theological correctness. Like even going to grad school, we still came to church and we're like, oh, we're learning things from the sermon. It wasn't just like this fluff type of thing. There was some depth to it and people living out their faith, which was really exciting for us to be part of.
I think I can probably speak into each and every initial member of Providence. Impact they had.
A big couple that's made the biggest impact on us was Randy and Cheryl McCalls. They were part of our community group. When our house, we were renting a place, not quite in the place we were able to buy yet. And we're like, hey, we have a couple months. And they said, hey, come live with us. I'm like, we had like Hezekiah was 4 or 5 at the time. I was like, we have a 5-year-old and you want us to just live with you? And they're like, sure, that's what community does. They just opened their house and welcomed us and then helped us get our house that we're in now.
This is like an expensive, actually I think Providence also relies on that expensive love, right?
Providence has always had this edge of a little bit of crazy. Sometimes you're not sure when it's too much crazy and when you're like, what is happening next?
Sure.
But there's always the edge of pushing like, okay, God, you're bigger than this. How are you showing up in this way? And sometimes you're like, this doesn't make sense. Why are we doing this? This is not wise. And you see God show up.
I think that crazy stuff comes from, I want to believe when people see each other. When we have struggles of people in the church, that's where those crazy ideas come from, because I feel the leadership has always been like, dude, that can't happen. We got to step up and voice for that, you know? That great name that you got, where's God in this? You know? And that's been Providence. I think that's the crazy we're talking about, and just stepping in boldly. Listen to understand, but not to speak, right? That to me is a multicultural. No matter what, man, this is kind of home. Yeah, some were like a chihuahua for communion. They were convinced they needed communion, and